Beauty was a Morgan quarter horse that my mother rode before she went to college. Then my mom sold her, to this man named Fred Martin, who raced her for barrel racing, and he won a lot of blue ribbons. One time he showed us a lot of blue ribbons on the wall that she had won. And then my mother bought Beauty back from Fred Martin and rode her on the farm. But as soon as anybody sat on her, she would be ready for a barrel race. I mean, she would be ready to go. So you better hold on if you sat onto her. If you sat on her back, you better hold on tight. I also used to ride a midget black Angus cow around the pasture. I called her Baby. She was very broad and short, but strong and very gentle. We had ducks, chickens, guineas, and peacocks too. I loved watching the ducks fly over the pond and ski across the top. My mother said one time a hen sat on some duck eggs in the chicken coop, and when they hatched, they jumped into the pond, and the mother hen ran up and down the pond bank frantically because she thought the ducklings were baby chickens and that they couldn't swim. And I bet she was relieved when she finally realized they were okay. To be continued another night. My brother Charlie and I also had rabbits in cages behind the house. Before having baby bunnies, the mother rabbit would pluck fur from her chest to line a nest. That's what always happened. We named one little bunny Peter Rabbit. Someone found a wild rabbit in a hay bale with part of its leg missing. We tried to save it, but it didn't live very long. Next to the rabbit cages, we played on a jungle gym. We would climb on it and hang upside down by our knees. We also had a swing set. I sometimes put a hognose snake around my neck and spun around to wind up the swing, and then let go and spin really fast. We had an above-ground swimming pool for a while, too. Eventually, it got green with algae, and we put fish in it from the pond. Speaking of fish, we sometimes found crayfish in the ditch in front of the house. Further down the road was a frog pond, we called it, full of big water snakes. I would get upset when our redneck neighbors, the Phillips, shot them with a rifle, saying they were cottonmouth water moccasins. We also had a fascinating fish aquarium in the living room. We also had a chicken coop next to the pond. It was made out of the WONN radio station sign and some other things. The chickens didn't like us taking their eggs. You could see it in their eyes. One day, a big snapping turtle was after the chickens. I was going down some steps to see it when my tummy started hurting. I was just 4 years old. The doctor determined I had appendicitis due to a popcorn kernel. The Phillips family could be threatening and led to my mother having a nervous breakdown. Excuse me. My Aunt Kitty, who lived in a trailer next to the pigs, complained a lot, which also contributed to the problem. Arguing children didn't help matters. I tried to keep the house cleaning, especially in my room. Clean, so we could have company without being embarrassed. But my brother's room was a wreck. He had so many toys. I had several pets, including snakes, a yellow canary bird named Toby, who loved to sing pretty tunes, a flying squirrel, baby turtles, and a baby caiman, very similar to an alligator, and a Cocker Spaniel puppy. He was one of the puppies born on the farm. We also had German Shepherd dogs and Siamese cats. What a menagerie. My friends and cousins came over and rode horses sometime. My friend Sherry Stanley invited me to her church. The bus would pick us up. The driver and his girlfriend were very nice and gave us candy and bubble gum. Another good friend, Sandy Grant, invited me to her church prayer meeting at school. There were lots of nice kids there and a wonderful youth pastor who could sing really well. His name was Ron Cappy. We sang in some super musicals. We went on retreats, which is how I met my first boyfriend, Randy. The summer after I twirled baton for a year and our trio won a first place trophy. Randy Holland and I dated, mostly going to church functions all that summer. We hugged each other and he taught me French kissing in his car in front of the house. My parents kept looking out the window. He decided we should see other people when I picked him up by the shoulders and said no when he got inappropriate. I missed Randy very much and wrote about him in my journal. He said hi to me in the hallways and hugged me or gave me a high five. He looked out for me and made sure I wasn't getting involved with the wrong people through the grapevine. He would warn me through the grapevine. I saw him quite often in high school, where I played first and second chair clarinet in the marching band. Our band even won the state championship and went to Washington, D.C. It rained most of the time that week, though, but we still saw the sights. Randy and I also ran into each other at Florida Southern College Library sometimes. He asked me to go to McDonald's with him, and I told him I needed to ask my parents. He said that was odd, more or less, but I didn't go. I was still quite shy, especially with boys. Randy has his own fumigation company in Ocala now. We were friends on Facebook, which I forgot the password for. Now I don't even know if he ever got back to me. Oh well. Another really cute guy I dated one time to play tennis with was Nelson Kirkland. He is a friend of my third and current Facebook page. We sat across from each other in 10th grade, first period. I felt like he was always staring at me and I was extremely self-conscious. The only time we spoke at that time was when I stuck a crumpled up piece of paper in my purse thinking it was trash. I had found it on the table. At the end of that period, he asked for his homework back. I was stunned. That's what was in my purse and embarrassingly gave it back. I just knew he thought I was weird and was so surprised when he called and asked me to play tennis with him. We were so shy we didn't even hold hands. He wanted me to sit with him, but I was still too shy and still missed Randy. I dated Tim Beard, Randy's friend, one time. He kissed me on the lips and I went into the house and washed it off. After my family moved from the farm, I met a guy named Nilo at Polk's Community College. We went to a movie together. I wore one of my mother's conservative dresses. He tried to make out with me, but I stopped him. Later on, your daddy my ex-husband told me he was married and had children. So I told Nilo I couldn't date him anymore. Your daddy asked me out to see a movie with him. My ex-husband. And Harry, this little guy named Harry, called The Year of Living Dangerously with Mel Gibson in Indonesia. And then the rest is history. This is for my kids too. Thanks for reading. Love, hugs, and kisses, Mommy. This is to my children. In case you are wondering, yes, I was still a virgin when I met your father. I was too shy and just had not met the right man yet. Your father was very nice and warm. He gave me comforting massages, wrote interesting letters, and we had interesting phone conversations. I felt shocked when I saw the semi-truck run him in his car off the road on the way home from Polk Community College in Winter Haven, Florida. It was in the LRMCER that I first spoke with his sister, your Aunt Linda. We also learned he had a heart murmur. My cousin Patrick represented your daddy in court and said to plead guilty, even though it looked to me like the truck driver ran your daddy off the road and there were false witnesses from the trucking company. Your daddy and I later discussed. We were quite disappointed with Patrick. I was stunned that your Uncle Willie expected me to speak up in court. I didn't understand what was going on behind the scenes until court was over. Anyway, your Uncle Tommy helped your daddy buy a new car, new car, and we kept attending college. However, I was quite distracted worrying about getting pregnant too soon and didn't do well in nursing school. I tried to just be friends, but your daddy said he had a blackout when he read the letter. I felt he needed me, and we eloped to Oviedo, close to Orlando, where we were married in a church with a nice wedding. I had always been faithful to your father, and as far as I know, he was faithful to me. We had many fun memories together, especially working on projects. We helped each other get through tough times, like school and job problems. We were married for 27 years. I wish he had never started pornography, though, because it lowered my self-esteem, which I already had trouble with. I felt he was never satisfied no matter what. I had to sleep separately because I needed enough sleep to get up to go to work, school, help Grandma, dear old Lisa and Krista, and the dogs. Your father wanted your grandmother to get on Medicaid and live in a nursing home. Your grandmother stayed with us, but your father kept changing his mind about whether she could stay or not. I finally finished my teaching degree. Your grandma called and said she went for a nice long walk with her dogs. This was before she went to live with us. Okay,